After 2+ decades of test driving new cars each week, I admit you can get a little jaded. So it's rare now that I'm wowed when a new one is delivered. But that's exactly what's happening this week. I mean, just look at this thing. The LC is already a gorgeous car, but then make it a convertible and paint it this color red, and all of a sudden, I'm a teenager again at Spencer Gifts buying the poster. Because the LC 500 convertible is as close as it gets to a rolling piece of art.
There's been a design renaissance in the automotive world as of late, where bold, ornate styling is found on everything from family sedans to three-row SUVs. Bland is definitely out, and in the case of Lexus, none too soon. From stodgy to spectacular, their lineup has been completely transformed in recent years, culminating with the most fashionable piece they've ever crafted, the LC convertible. In a red so rich it looks like it's been faked with filters, the drop-top LC and its oversized wheels, mesmerizing grille, and Aston Martin-esque backside draws attention like few other cars can. And that's before you started. It's not often we get to hear unfettered V8 sounds anymore, especially in this class of car, but the 5.0 can steal the show if given the chance. Turbos be damned, this is what we want to hear. And with engineered sound enhancements into the cabin, it stimulates the senses even more from the inside.
Lexus actually catches a bit of a break here with this naturally aspirated V8. And what I mean by that is their penchant for letting things go just a tad too long actually plays into their favor with the LC, because nobody is making engines like this anymore, making it a refreshing alternative to Turbopalooza. And the V8 sounds are pure heaven.
You can trace this engine's roots to the 2007 ISF, and here it produces 471 horsepower and 398 pound-feet of steady, organic torque. It drives the rear wheels through a 10-speed torque converter automatic, the one with dual clutch-like shifting quickness, paddle shifters, and various drive modes. Its bark may be worse than its bite, but this is still a quick car, and considerably fun to drive when in Sport S Plus and the top down. 0 to 60 takes 4.6 seconds, about the same as an AMG E-Class Cabrio, and does it with some fanfare. No squealing tires, but keep your foot in it and the exhaust really comes alive. There is an adaptive suspension which adjusts to driving style and road surfaces. And of course, you can lock it in with the drive settings. But the ride quality is surprisingly not Lexus-like. Despite numerous means to solidify the overall structure and retuning the dampers and springs for the added weight, the convertible just handles itself a little less gracefully than expected. Impact harshness is high, and if you hit a bump mid-turn, the body shudders as the car briefly loses grip.
Just to be clear, the LC isn't a sports car. It's what they call a Grand Tour in the purest sense. This car is all about a beautiful autumn day, top down, companion in the passenger seat, neck heater blowing, and the intoxicating sounds from the V8. Now, the 21-inch wheels and high-performance tires do ding the ride quality just a bit, and this suspension just doesn't feel as sophisticated as you might think, so driving this car with verve is actually more rewarding when the road isn't too twisty. But when placed right next to the 911 I'm also testing this week, this is the car that's been grabbing all of the attention, and taking it for long country drives has been an absolute pleasure.
The convertible top is well insulated, so for times when it's up, this car is Lexus quiet. But it's not turbulence-free when down, though the rear windscreen helps some. Still, conversation is easily accomplished, and the roof and window operations are quick and simple. For day trips on back roads with the top down, this LC has been stellar. Just one complaint. The typically excellent Mark Levinson stereo doesn't have the firepower necessary for open-air driving, even though Lexus says it automatically compensates for just that.
Choosing infrared for the exterior is a no-brainer, But I'm not so sure about this toasted caramel for the interior. I think I would stick with black. Otherwise, this is the opulent, flashy designer cabin you would expect to see in a car that looks this amazing. Sure, the infotainment system can be a little maddening at times, per usual for Lexus, but the Climate Concierge feature, which automatically heats and cools you, is so perfect for a convertible.
It heats or cools you when and where it's needed without having to go through the on-screen settings, including the Mercedes-like neck scarf. The front seats are appropriately comfortable, but the rear seats are virtually void of legroom, so this is not an S-Class cabriolet. And there's just enough trunk space to get out of town for a couple of days. But with an as-tested price of just under $112,000, which is fully loaded, I'd appreciate a little more excess to go with this striking interior. Massaging seats, selectable ambient lighting, exciting gauges and displays, you know, the little stuff the Germans do so well, all absent here. No wireless CarPlay either, though wired connectivity is here, including for Android Auto. Maybe because I live where summer-like weather lasts for only a few months, I love convertibles. And the showier, the better. And this Lexus makes for the ideal sunny skies weekender, as long as you can handle all of the attention. For TestDriveNow.com, I'm Steve Hammis.